AI is coming for your job, and even worse, your meaning. You have ChatGPT, you have Claude, you have AI that can summarize any idea instantly. So why? Why are you watching me? You could paste this video into a machine and say, summarize it. It will give you the structure, the key points, the takeaways, efficient, clean, organized. So why are you still here? Because isn't about information. It's about something you haven't realized you're losing. And AI isn't just coming for jobs, it's coming for the cheap version of meaning. And if you don't understand that, you're going to build the wrong future. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know whether you're replaceable or not. Most people think the AI conversation is about employment, automation, productivity, layoffs. That's only surface level. The real disruption is identity. If you follow me on Instagram or on any of my other social media platforms, you'll know I talk a lot about identity. For decades, work has done something deeper than paying bills. Work gave people structure, status, forward motion, contribution. Work quietly answered the question, what am I doing with my life? Most people never ask that directly, but they feel it every morning. Work gave them trajectory. Now, I want you to imagine a world where output becomes cheap, information becomes infinite, skill becomes promptable, and good enough is automated. I wrote a post a few days ago and I said, your good enough is killing you. What happens when your job no longer proves your relevance? What happens when your title no longer protects your identity? What happens when millions of people wake up and realize their identity was rented? Most people don't realize their identity is rented. And when the landlord changes the rules, they collapse. You need to understand what replaces that, because it's not obvious. To understand where we're going, we need to zoom out. Meaning has shifted throughout history. There were stages. Act 1, meaning came from above. Gods, kings, elders, scriptures. You didn't find purpose. You inherited. You were born into a narrative. You had a place. Act 2. Meaning came from productivity, industrialized civilization. Science replaced religion as the dominant framework. Meaning became contribution to the machine. You earned identity because you worked. Act 3. Meaning was deconstructed. Everything became perspective. Nothing became obsolete. Meaning became optional, ironic, disposable. So distraction replaced direction. Consumption replaced contribution. Act 4. Meaning must be generated internally, not assigned, not inherited, not guaranteed, built. And this is where we are now. Act 4 sounds very empowering because it isn't. It's terrifying. Because now you're responsible. There is no script handed to you, no guaranteed structure, no predefined arc. You either generate meaning or you drift. And most people don't know how to generate meaning without being told who they are. That's the scary part. That's the real disruption. There are two categories of work: mechanical and mythic. Mechanical work is repetitive. You're in a loop, you're in a matrix. I'm not going to go too far into this, but I am writing I am writing my first feature film. I'm actually writing a lot of different feature films, but I've stayed focused on this one feature film, and I need to get the term right because the title of the movie is in Latin and it's called Concuspicia or Concuspicia. I know what it means, but I have to make sure I got the term right, the pronunciation down pat. But anyway, Concuspicia means desire of lust, a strong passion, desire of lust. And the movie in the movie, it's a very violent movie. It's a dark psychological thriller. It's a horror film, but it's more of a psychological thriller than a horror film. And most of the people in the movie, they are in this loop. They are not programmed. Well, in a way, they are programmed, but they're forgetful. Their forgetfulness in the movie. It's kind of it's not a religious movie, but it has a lot of theology in it. And I've been going really deep into studying Catholicism and demonology, and studying a lot of different, also studying different religions too. It's a lot of different things I put into the movie, but you know, if you pay attention, you'll see some of the stuff I said in the movie with the lines and everything. But one of the main ideas of the movie is that sin is not the worst thing. It's forgetfulness. And I say that because forgetfulness, a lot of you, if you look out, if you just people watch people, just go to a cafe or a restaurant or go to a park and you just see people, just watch people. Eventually you're going to see that a lot of people, they're like automated. They're like on autopilot. A lot of people, more than you realize. A lot of people are in the loop. And if you just have certain conversations with people, you'll see that a lot of people say the same thing. They believe in the same thing. They do the same thing. And this is kind of where I'm getting at. And that's sort of where I was getting on with the movie, but more on a deeper level. I just kind of gave you surface level stuff about the film. Don't want to go too deep into it. But just thought I'll use that as an example. So there are two categories of work: mechanical and mythic. Mechanical work is repetitive, process driven, predictable. That category is collapsing first. And yes, that has real consequences. But mythic work is different. Mythic work is human synthesis. It's when you see reality through your lens. When you connect lived experience. When you frame chaos. When you create something that carries your fingerprint. AI isn't competing with your creativity. It's exposing whether you ever had any. And you actually do have creativity. You just don't use it. You have an imagination. You just don't use it. AI, if you don't want to be replaceable, it's going to force you to do so. This is uncomfortable, but it's true. Machines can process information. They cannot live inside stakes. And stakes are where meaning forms. I'm telling you, someone who's been acting pretty much on and off all their life and has been in theater, and now who is a writer, a screenwriter, stakes does create meaning. So let's talk about the loop that's breaking. Historically, the system was simple. You work, you earn wages, you spend wages, companies profit, jobs are sustained, repeat. Automation compresses wages. Compressed wages compress spending. Compressed spending destabilizes structure. Income shifts toward ownership, capital, assets, participation. But here's the part most people miss. Even if survival becomes easier, meaning does not. Even if income becomes automated, identity does not. Even if labor disappears, the need for struggle does not. Humans require friction. Humans require challenge. Humans require movement. Without it, identity erodes. Even if money becomes easier, meaning does not. And that's where most people will quietly decay. I say this all the time. Be obsessed or be average. Create or destroy. Evolve or decay. I'll say that again for you. Be obsessed or be average. Create or destroy. Evolve or decay. That's what I'd say to myself. That's my black and white perspective of this world. I know a lot of people like to talk about the gray area. There is no gray area with me. There is no average with me. It's either black or white. It's either you suck or you're great. That's how I look at it. So take that how you will. I'll say this again. Even if money becomes easier, meaning does not. And that's where most people will quietly decay. But a small percentage will compound. Let me explain how. Meaning has structure. It dies from two forces: stagnation, isolation. No forward movement. No contribution. Modern life amplifies both. Scrolling feels active, but it isn't. Digital validation feels like connection. It isn't. Scrolling feels like progress. It isn't. Even if you're watching a podcast, listening to a podcast, reading a book, an ebook, you're still consuming. You can still feel like you're being productive, but you really aren't. You either create or you decay. And the longer you confuse stimulation with movement, the harder the crash. It took me a very long time to get my head around this and to get myself out of this loop. I thought I was being very productive by studying so much and taking so many different courses and reading all these different books and listening to all these podcasts. Yeah, I learned a lot, got a lot of information, but at the end of the day, I still looked at my bank account. I still looked at where I was living, and my worth amounted to nothing. That's where I've had to challenge myself to earn with my mind and not with my time. To start being a true creator, to start building, creating. And let me tell you, when you really get obsessed with being a creator and really building and developing yourself and evolving yourself in the midst of you creating value, eventually become value created, you become obsessed with it, and it becomes simple in time. It only becomes hard because you're like, what am I doing? I don't know what to do. And then you get into this loop, and then you get in, analysis paralysis, maybe, but that's the whole point of being a beautiful creator. That's the whole point of being a value creator. You don't need to know what you're doing. Just freaking create. Just build. Build something. You have the tools. You have the resources. Just follow your heart. Listen to your heart. Go out there and search. Use the stuff that you consume as guides, as information, as sources for you building. But you're better off just Netflix and chilling all day, doom scrolling, if all you're going to do is just consume podcasts and read a bunch of books and do nothing, absolutely nothing with that information. Meaning is built on two pillars: progress, contribution. It must feel like you're moving, and that movement must matter. 3 generators drive this. They drive that. Chosen struggle, curiosity, recognition. Struggle creates growth. Curiosity creates direction. Recognition confirms impact. Those 3 forces are not random. They are the skeleton of story. Conflict, exploration, resolution. And your brain is a story engine. If your life doesn't feel like a story, it starts feeling like a loop. And loop kills ambition. That's where the split happens. Here's the division of labor in the AI era. Machines handle friction. Humans handle narrative. People pay for speed when escaping inconvenience. Humans who can create perspective will dominate influence. Let me say something dangerous. If your work is purely functional, you are already replaceable. The future belongs to people whose presence changes the product, not just people who produce the product. Now, we reach the core. This next concept might offend you. Good. Because if it does, it means you're still attached to output. And output is the first thing getting automated. Here's the test. The swap test. If I can swap you out and the value stays the same, you are replaceable. Generic insight is replaceable. Generic content is replaceable. Generic productivity advice is replaceable. But perspective anchored in lived trajectory that's not replaceable. AI cannot replicate lived stakes. It cannot replicate care. It cannot replicate mortality. It cannot replicate evolving taste. AI does not die. You do. That's not poetic, that's leverage. This moment passes. You don't get to redo it. AI doesn't feel that compression. And that compression gives your decisions gravity. Your value is not output. Your value is arc. If your arc disappears and nothing changes, you're a commodity. And commodities get priced down. If you chase tools first, you're already behind because tools are shared. Identity is not. Here is the hierarchy that actually lasts. Agency, taste, perspective, persuasion, tools. Agency is acting without permission, choosing your problems, rejecting default paths. Taste is selecting what matters. Curation over noise. Perspective is holding complexity. Seeing nuance. Persuasion is making others care. Tools are vessels. Shared, replaceable. Without agency, you walk someone else's script, and that script is being automated. When AI makes life easier, most people get softer. Comfort erodes edge. Infinite convenience produces hollow men, and hollow men consume. They don't build. What category are you drifting toward? This isn't motivational. This is structural. Rare people gain leverage. Rare identities gain influence. Rare trajectories compound. This isn't philosophy. It's a filter. 30 minutes a day, 10 minutes, chosen struggle. Do something hard. 10 minutes, curiosity captured. Write the questions you can't stop thinking about. 10 minutes, contribution shipped. An idea, a paragraph, a video, one artifact into the world. 1 year, momentum will build. Signal builds. Your arc becomes visible. And when the economy shifts, you are not dependent on it. You are positioned above it. So let's come back to the beginning. You still haven't answered the question. You have AI, you have instant summaries, you have infinite information. So why are you still watching a human think? Because you don't want information. You want orientation. You want stakes. You want a trajectory you can feel. AI will replace the swappable, but it will expose the priceless. Your job is not to outproduce machines. Your job is to become irreplaceable. So when you focus on that, you're not going to care what AI does, to a certain extent. So the next time you choose to watch a human, ask yourself why. Because whatever that reason is, that's what you need to build. Thank you so much for watching. This is Dante Taviantz, and you know I'll be back very soon. Have a great, beautiful day.